there will be an Iowa Nonprofit Alliance board member only vote for electing a couple officer positions for the executive committee. Then we'll move into some exciting announcements, Iowa Nonprofit Alliance member benefits that you may already know about, but some new ones as well. And then give a preview of some upcoming workshops and events to help you build capacity and be more informed as a leader or staff member of an Iowa nonprofit organization or board member. And then we'll end with a Q&A session for you to ask any questions that you might have. We don't promise the ability to answer those questions. However, this is going to help the board and staff think about where are the heads of our members at right now? What are you thinking about? What are you wondering about? And where can we help build some additional capacity or resources going forward into the remainder of this calendar year and then next calendar year? All right, so Iowa Nonprofit Alliance established 2022, now 2025, so heading into our third full year of existence. We make it possible for nonprofits to achieve more, and that is really what drives everything we do. We are a member-based association. We respond to our membership, we represent our membership, and we learn from our membership. And without our membership, we don't exist. And so our goal is to help our members be more successful, because we know that as organizations across the state are able to create more positive impact and deliver more positive results and operate more efficiently and with greater deliberate intentions, that everything in our communities is better off because of it. So that's our work and that's our mission. Our vision is a thriving nonprofit sector doing its best work to positively impact people and communities statewide. So again, everything we do is about helping things get better for the people and communities in which we operate and for those that we serve. We are one of many state nonprofit associations across the US, all of which I believe are members of the National Council of Nonprofits. And so just like you are a member of our organization, we are a member and get resources from and learnings through the National Council of Nonprofits. And that is a national organization that really works to empower state associations to do our best work for you. So we get a lot of resources, we get a lot of support from the National Council of Nonprofits, and the National Council of Nonprofits also helps amplify your member voices up through the national level. So in terms of national PR campaigns, marketing efforts, advocacy efforts, what we hear from you at the local state level, we then pass and gets translated to advocacy at the national level. So we're excited about that. And it's a core part of the relationship between your organization and how we translate into that into national action. All right, INA board officers and staff. So we are, obviously the board is a volunteer board of directors composed of representatives from member organizations, whether that's nonprofits or business allies, and we work for you. That's our job. That's our goal, is to continue to help this organization have the best impact it can, so that that impact is realized in your day-to-day operations. So I'm not gonna, well, I guess I'll go through. So I'm Jordan. Paul Thielen is the vice chair currently. Brian Aronson is the treasurer. Emily Shields is a director, and she's up for election as the secretary. Julianne Gassman, past chair. Let's go to the next slide. Amy Kroll, one of our newer board members. Kimberly Kolakowski, again, a newer board member. Jennifer Smizer with the Stanley Center. Matt Unger and Donna Wolk. So great representation from across the state, a variety of different types of organizations, including some business allies, and working in different sectors. So the goal with the INA board is to try and create as much representation for the sector and for nonprofits in Iowa as possible. But your role as a member is also part of that representation and that diversity of this organization. So thank you for that. The INA team, small but mighty. Alex Rice is our new executive director. We're going to introduce her in just a little bit. Skylar Ramsey is our program associate, serving through the AmeriCorps Vista program, which on again, off again program. We love it. No, we don't. we wish it was more consistent. I'm sure you do too. And then we also contract with Intuit Digital to help manage our social media and digital marketing streams to help get you the information you need as quickly and as effectively as possible. And then, of course, not represented on this slide, but a big part of the team is our outgoing launch director, Bethany Snyder from Snyder Strategy. She's giving jazz hands. If you can see her, that's great. I happen to have her on my screen. So a couple things here. First, we're going to introduce our new executive director, Alex, and then I'm just going to give a little bit of thanks to our outgoing launch director, Bethany Snyder. So Alex Rice is our new executive director, and we created a little bit of overlap here so that she could hit the ground running, learn everything she needs to know from Bethany, and then continue to lead this organization forward into a bright future. A little bit about the competitive application process. We had over 60 applicants for the executive director position, highly competitive process. We went through a couple of different rounds of review and interviewing, and we narrowed it down to who we think is the best candidate and now who has stepped into the role of executive director, and that's Alex Rice. I'm going to allow Alex a few minutes here to introduce herself and just tell our membership a little bit about your background and maybe what you're excited about in this new role as executive director.
Hello, everybody. Nice to, I guess, virtually meet some of you today, and I think some of you I've already met, and hopefully the rest of you will be meeting shortly. I kind of cut my teeth in the nonprofit sector and direct service, really coming up in the youth development lane, so doing after school and summer programming, and worked my way into management roles and eventually into being an executive director. And I had been following the trajectory of INA since before it officially had formed, back when it was still just an idea and a feasibility study. And so it's really exciting for me to now be a part of crafting what then, the future of INA is going to look like and all the great work that we're going to do. So my hope in these next few months is to be able to hit the road and actually go out and meet a lot of you in person. So while I'm based in Des Moines, my goal is to be able to spread myself across the state and really meet you all and have a chance to really listen to you and learn about what we should be doing as an organization to best serve you. And I also want to take a moment to just say a huge thanks to Bethany, because you really have done so much work to get us to where we are today. And I think without you, we would, maybe be in a totally different place. So I think really a lot of flowers for all the work you put in, all the things that you created and the structure that exists, because it really shows. So, maybe if we can all find the reaction button and give her all of the confetti and hearts and whatnot that she deserves. But thanks so much, Bethany.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Absolutely. And so just a quick moment here to talk about Bethany. Bethany over the last several years as launch director was really brought on to help make this organization a thing and shepherd it into existence. She has her own company, Snyder Strategies, where she works tirelessly to advocate for the nonprofit and sector in Iowa and beyond. She has definitely brought that skill set to Iowa Nonprofit Alliance, especially in the recent months. You can see those skills that she has just continue to shine and create value for all organizations across the state. Under her leadership, she has helped organizations build capacity, connect with resources, learn from each other. Not only did we officially launch, we recruited and retained and served member organizations. So, before 2022, no members of the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance, and now hundreds. So we're excited about that. We appreciate your efforts, Bethany. And I personally, and I know I speak for the board and a lot of our membership here, want to thank you for helping this ethereal vision become a concrete thing in the state of Iowa. And we know that you'll continue your work in helping Iowa nonprofits. We hope to partner with you in various ways going forward. And just thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I put my words into a little per usual blog post. So you can read that. And yeah, it's just been one of the highlights of my career is to launch this organization. So like I said, I'm not going very far. I put my thoughts on paper so you guys can read it. And yeah, again, I'm just excited to see where INA goes the next few years.
Excellent. Okay, so now moving into kind of the business portion of today's agenda. We do have our business agenda. We're going to have a variety of folks leading us through this. And so I will turn it over to Bethany to provide an overview of the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance's impact in 2024. And July 2024 through June
Yes.
2025, just to remind everyone, we do operate on kind of a governmental fiscal calendar.
Yeah, so in 2024, we'll have Skylar will put a link to a blog post where you can read more information about it. But we had a great year, our second full year in operation. We had 140 organizational or institutional members. And then, as you know, from there, folks can invite their board members or volunteers or staff. So we had 303 individual nonprofit leaders as part of our network with 39 business allies. And this is anyone who was a member between January and December 2024. Um, just as a reminder, our business allies are our vendors and consultants and businesses who support the nonprofit sector. And we encourage you to use their services and look them up on the Business Ally directory. In 2024, we had 768 nonprofit professionals attended an INA hosted events and training. And so that is really excited. We hosted 38 total events and trainings to our network last year. Our In a Minute, which is our sector new, I call it Iowa's nonprofit sector newsletter, continues to grow. We have around 3,000 subscribers across the state. And these are, again, fan funders and folks of the nonprofit sector. And we launched our first salary and benefits survey with NAM. That's the Nonprofit Association of the Midlands, which covers Nebraska and part of Iowa. And we had 312 organizations took that survey. Until then, we did not have good benchmark surveys, and you guys did not have good benchmark information for salaries and benefits offered to the nonprofit sector in Iowa. And you know this because you asked for it. And so, along with NAM, we were able to have about over 600 organizations took that survey. And so you can, Skylar is putting all the links in the chat that it's still available, and INA members get that for half price. So please take advantage of that. We did not do it this year, but we will be doing it. We're hopefully to be on an every other year cycle for that. And then lastly, we held our second time holding the Iowa Nonprofit Summit. This year we held it in Cedar Rapids at the Kirkwood Center. We had 206 folks attended, 130 organizations represented, and 25 vendors present. And we'll talk more about the summit coming up in 2025. That's back here in Ankeny. But again, we had a great summit with amazing keynotes and some awesome workshops. And we hope we'll see you back. We'll talk more at the summit at the end, but we hope we'll see you again. So that's some of our year in review. I think I'm up next for the advocacy update, so I'll just keep going. So as you guys know, advocacy is my jam, and it has been a year, hasn't it? I had all these plans starting in January of 2025, and they just kind of got bulldozed by advocacy needs. But that is why INA is here, is to do this work for you and to lift up you and our sector and strengthen our sector and protect it. You guys know policy decisions shape all that nonprofits can do, our operating environment, what we can fund, what we can deliver, the people that we serve. And we ensure that the 23,000 nonprofits are at the table. If you guys have ever been to any one of my advocacy trainings, our goal is we want nonprofits at the table, not on the menu. And right now, all nonprofits are on the menu. And we're trying our hardest to make sure to get you off of that and to have you at those tables where decisions are made. And so your INA memberships, your dues fund this work. So all that great information that we are getting from the National Council of Nonprofits, they've hired attorneys. I think we all know attorneys are not cheap. Lobbyists, policy experts, all of that stuff that we are getting from NCN. I know I have to say this. It's not free. You guys have volunteers doing that. That all costs money and it's all expensive money. And so your INA dues are directly funding that. You're the reason we have a nationwide injunction on that federal funding freeze because of your dues. And so through our advocacy, we provide that policy leadership. We provide those real-time advocacy alerts and tools. I've heard from many of you, the only people we're hearing this information from is the INA. We're getting this information from the INA. And we do the national advocacy through NCN, you know, like I said, with those attorneys, policy analysts, and lobbyists. So that's a little bit about our advocacy program. I think if any time it's come into clarity, it's this year. I shudder to think how you guys would be getting this information if it wasn't for the INA right now, right? Who would be stepping up and waking up at midnight and thinking about the action alerts they're going to send? I do that, you guys. I wake up at midnight. But I don't know who would be doing that if INA wasn't. But we're doing that because we serve you and we know it's important. So what's happening in Congress? If you don't know, I applaud you that you're living under a rock or something. But there's the One Big Beautiful Act, which we don't need to talk about the name of that, but this is the big tax package. And I was just listening to NPR this morning, and they're talking about this is where Trump has put all of his priorities, all of his eggs in one basket, if you will. They're trying to rush this. It's already been passed by the House. The Senate has made significant changes, and they made significant changes because of you, because of the advocacy you did. We had over 100 Iowa organizations send a letter to Ernst and Grassley saying, we need some changes made to this bill. And they were made. Now, there's still some things that we're working on with the Senate to get that bill improved. Disincentivizing charitable giving. You know, they still have those really terrible and draconian SNAP and Medicaid and environmental funding cuts. And we know those are going to critically harm Iowans. And the work that you're doing to lift up to provide that social safety net and weaken legal protections in public programs. And so, yeah, why it matters. This bill would directly impact your organization, how people can donate, how much they can donate, how much more strain is put on our nonprofit sector. The more that the government abdicates their responsibility, the more pressure is put on you. And so we must have our voices heard. And so, oh yeah, thanks. And the National Council of Nonprofits held a lobby day the first week of June. Could not have been more perfectly timed. And Paul was there with a lot of our other statewide association folks advocating on this bill. So what we need you to do, keep contacting Senators Ernst and Grassley and Ernst. Skylar is going to put an easy link where you can easily contact your members contact those senators. And sometimes you guys ask, does this even matter? And I think you guys all know I'm a former United States Senate staffer. It matters. We got reports every single morning that said how many emails we got the day before, how many calls came in the day before, what they were about, and what people were saying. The federal offices definitely track this, and it matters. We wouldn't have these wins if no nonprofits contacted their senators. The bill would still be bad, right? So obviously advocacy works. So Skylar's going to keep putting in the chat some of these other tools. So contact Senators Grassley and Ernst today. They're very important. They're Republican senators. They have a big enough voice to change this bill. We'll also be putting in some other things. We've been sharing this through in a minute, but the full analysis of the Senate bill, one pager on how to protect nonprofits in this tax reconciliation bill, updated chart of the tax provisions, and this Contact Congress tool. So that's my little, thank you, Skylar, just put that all in the chat. That's my little spiel about advocacy. Of course, I won't stop talking about advocacy because it's my favorite thing in the world. And I'll kick it over to Alex to talk about our membership survey. Thank you.
So many of you probably helped us by completing this membership survey that came out this spring. We called it a membership survey, but we also surveyed non-members so we could kind of learn from them, maybe things that we could be doing differently. I think the final PDF report of the results was something like 45 pages. So I really condensed it here to just share some of the big highlights. So what we heard from you all was that what we're really doing well is advocacy. So thank you, Bethany, because we know you're our advocacy champ. That the summit has been really great for those who attended, and that we're very strong at communicating with our In a Minute newsletter, and that you all feel like we're doing a great job keeping you informed of what's going on. In terms of what you all would like to see more of, one thing that kept surfacing is just more opportunities to connect, be it virtually or in person. So hopefully that's something, especially I'd love to, as I said, hit the state and go around and meet you all, but also have those be opportunities for nonprofits to connect at the same time. So hopefully we'll be doing that later this year. And then one of the things that kept surfacing in terms of needs is that a lot of you are having just specific challenges that you hope the INA can be a resource in supporting you with. And a big one that kept coming up was how hard it is to provide employee benefits, especially if you're a small nonprofit. So I've been having conversations, and hopefully we have some resources we'll be able to offer there as well.
Thank you, Alex. Really good. And thank you for everyone that participated in that survey. One of the ways that a statewide association knows what to focus time, energy, and resources on is when its members and potential members contribute and make their voices heard. And like Bethany likes to say, come to the table, not be on the menu. And so thank you for those of you that came to the table and gave us your input and your feedback. We do that survey every year. And so if you missed it this past year, make sure you take the 5 or 10 minutes that it takes to complete it next year so that your voice can be heard and you can help make sure that this is a strong organization serving the diverse needs of the sector. We're now going to move over to Brian Aronson, who is our board treasurer, to give an overview of our financials.
Thanks, Jordan. Again, as I said earlier, Brian Aronson with Creative Planning. I'm one of the business allies that they mentioned. While not a nonprofit myself, I spend 100% of my time with nonprofits. And it was pretty quick after joining the board. They said, "Hey, you should be treasurer." So I get the joys of Jordan. You already set me up for success by saying everybody's going to appreciate the budget and financial review. So I appreciate that. But we did file our second IRS Form 990 for the year ended June 30th, 2024. We did get that filed on back in April, so it should be showing up on either irs.gov or GuideStar. Any time now. We're happy to share that out with any of the members too, if there's any requests for that 990. As you all know, the 990 is a combination of quantitative and qualitative information. It's got our total revenue, expenses, mission, program accomplishments, our policies, those that served on the board, and much, much more. We took the view as, hey, this is required, and we, it's an additional marketing tool to promote the things that INA is doing. The return does, these numbers are all rounded, but the return does reflect revenue of $209,000 for that period, which was $66,000 the year before. So, showing the growth there. Expenses of 172 left us with assets of 57.5, liabilities, which was really deferred revenue of 7,500, and a net asset balance. So coming into this fiscal year, we were really sitting on net assets of $50,000. But again, I think the quantitative or qualitative information in the 990 is just as important, right? Who did we serve? How did we serve them? As far as, working through the fiscal year 26 budget, so this upcoming budget, as we talked earlier, Bethany mentioned, she had ideas in January as far as what things were going to look like. We did too. From a budget perspective, things continue to evolve as Alex has joined, as the VISTA program has changed. All of those things continue to evolve. We're still in draft mode for our 26 budget, but really the goal is to budget flat with revenue of 200,000 and expenses of 200,000. So we've talked, as we're growing, things continue to evolve, but really from a revenue side, standing on 3 pillars, a third. The goal is memberships, grants and donations, and then program and summit fees that you all support. So that's our revenue sources. And then, as you can see, a lot of it's going directly to staff and benefits and contractual contracts and consultants. So our staff is few but mighty, and they've got a lot of things to do, from organizing events to member communications to the advocacy to all those things. So Like with many of you, your top expense item is your people, and that is the same with us. Again, happy to address any questions if anything comes up, or share the latest 990.
Thanks, Brian. And if members do have questions, we'll hold those till the end of the meeting for the Q&A session. And one thing to note in our expenses, we don't hold rent on any offices. So we are a remote team. And so again, as an organization, we're trying to maximize the resources that we have to create as much value for our membership as possible. And it makes sense that our highest expense would be our people, because that's really what creates value for our member organizations, is the work that our staff are doing day in and day out to gather information, disseminate information, schedule programs, schedule services, advocate. That's really the main work that we do. We are now going to move to our voting portion of the agenda. So again, we have 2 votes here. The first vote is to elect board members. The second vote will be a board member only vote to elect officers. Just a couple reminders on who can vote for this first vote, which is electing board members. Only organizational members of the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance are eligible to vote. Student members, business allies, university/college members, and government members are not eligible to vote in board elections. So please make sure that if you are casting a vote here going forward, that you are an organizational member. Also, if you have more than one representative of your organization on the call today, please note that each organization receives 1 vote. Each organizational member receives 1 vote. That is not 1 vote per person. That is 1 vote per organization. This is the joy of having bylaws, is that we have some strict rules and regulations that we follow. So that's why we're going through this right now. And we are now going to review the list of board members that have not been nominated yet. But this is the list of board members that have been proposed. We have 2 board members, myself and Kimberly, that have filled in for board members who resigned and are now looking to be elected for our second term. And then we also have 4 board members who are looking to be elected for their third term. The process here is that I would be looking for a member, an organizational member, to make the motion that appears on the screen. So the motion is, I would like to nominate the following slate of members to be elected for a second and third term as outlined. We would then need another organizational member to second that motion. And then we will open a poll through which organizational members can cast 1 vote per organization for either agreeing with that motion, abstaining, or disagreeing with that motion. So if you want to make the motion and you are an organizational member, now would be the time to take yourself off mute and read the motion that is on the screen and bask in your 15 seconds of fame.
Well, Bethany said we have no robots, but reading this off the screen makes me feel real robotic. But I, member Matt Unger from DMARC, would like to nominate the following slate of members to be elected for a second and third term as outlined.
Thank you, Matt. You did it well. You didn't sound robotic at all. You definitely put your humanity into that motion. We'd now be looking for an organizational member to second that motion.
This is Brenda Loop. I second that motion.
And Brenda, can you just state your organization as well?
Cedar Valley's Promise.
Great. Thank you, Brenda. So the motion has been made and seconded. So we will now open the poll. And again, only organizational members can respond. This is question 1 in the poll, and you'll be either voting yes, no, or abstaining. So go ahead and do that now. And you can go ahead and submit your answer.
And I'll keep the poll open through the second vote too. I didn't know how the questions were going to pop up, if they're going to pop up separately or together. Apparently they popped up together. So we'll just keep this up.
Okay, so organizational members, please make your votes now. We will announce those once the poll officially closes. We're now going to move on to the second vote that needs to be conducted during today's annual meeting. This is a vote for electing officer positions. The slate is Emily Shields as vice president and Paul Thielen as secretary. Current officers, myself and Brian Aronson, are not up for re-election at this time. So it's just Emily Shields and Paul Thielen for the role of vice president and secretary. And just a reminder that this vote is only open to current Iowa Nonprofit Alliance board members. This is not an organizational member vote. So we would be looking for a motion and a second before we cast the vote. So any board members that would like to make the motion and or the second, go ahead and do that now.
I, Julianne Gassman with the University of Northern Iowa, would like to nominate Emily Shields as vice president and Paul Thielen for secretary for the Iowa Nonprofit Board of Directors.
Great. Thank you, Julianne. Any board member would like to second?
I'll second. Matt Unger, board member, DMARC, not a robot.
Thank you, Matt. And then we do have a proxy member here for board member Kimberly Kolakowski. So if you are designated as a proxy, you are able to cast your vote on this officer position vote. So Bethany, if you could open that poll again. For myself, I clicked submit, so it went away. But if you click submit and your poll is not there, board members, please either put yes, no, or abstain in the poll, or if you closed it like me prematurely, please put it in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we're figuring this out.
Okay, so we have 3 yes votes in the chat from board members. 4 yes votes.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. So if you have 1 second to vote if you didn't yet.
5 yes votes in the chat from board members for the officer position. 6, 7.
Awesome.
Bethany, if you can easily view them, it looks like the motion carries for the officer positions, and it also looks like the motion carries for the board members. We will also verify that we've met the voting quorum threshold for member voting. In the instance that we didn't meet that threshold as stated by our bylaws, we will open the vote to organizational members via email, most likely this afternoon. So that would be the only potential change to the current votes. But as of right now, it looks like both motions carry. So thank you for participating in lending your voice to the leadership of the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance. We are now going to move out of the business agenda and into some announcements. So this is always a fun part of the agenda. First, I am going to make some announcements myself, or Bethany, you're doing these announcements.
I got it.
Alex has these announcements.
Yep.
Excellent.
So this is just kind of a quick overview of some of the benefits you have as an INA member. So if you are not currently taking advantage of these, we wanted to make sure that you're aware of what you have at your disposal. So I'm just going to kind of work my way through this slide, I guess going clockwise here. So our online groups, we have a number of groups that you can join where if you are, for example, a CEO or an executive director, and you need some help with something, we have our Google groups that you can sign up via your membership for. And if you've got a question, then you pop it in the group and get some answers to whatever this quandary is that you're struggling with. We also have groups that are regional. So if you are looking for some support within your region, you've got support there as well. I know that your membership sometimes can be a little tricky to navigate, so you can always reach out to Skylar if you're having trouble figuring out how to get signed up for one of those groups. The next thing, working my way through the slide, the Iowa Nonprofit Summit, we've got a separate slide because we really want to hammer that one in. So we'll get to that in a moment. Our salary and benefits survey that Bethany touched on earlier, I am lucky and I got, thanks to Paul, this beautiful bound version, but it's available to all of you as a digital version if you'd like to purchase that. And I can tell you, when I got my hands on it, I was really pleasantly surprised to just see how rich this is, that it's not just giving you benchmarking for your salaries, but it really drills down into benefits. So if you're wondering, should Juneteenth be a day off or should we offer the day after Thanksgiving, you really can start to see what some of those norms are across the sector. So you can really put together a good benefit package and make good decisions for your staff. Our Career Center is another resource that's available for you. So if you have a position that you would like support hiring, if you are an INA member, you can post there for free. So that's also available via your membership. And if you get stuck on that, we're also happy to help. And professional learning circles. So this is something that we've done in past years, and we're in the process of getting that kicked off for this year. We are going to be doing probably a little more communication in the next few weeks on this, beyond what we've already done to get things rolling. But these are opportunities, for example, if you're really struggling in fundraising, and that's an area where we've heard a lot from members that that's typically one of the biggest struggles that you have in a nonprofit organization. We have a professional learning circle for that, where you can get the support, not just of your peers, but a professional facilitator who is really an expert in that area. So that's, I think, one of our really great resources that we have to offer at INA. And then coming soon, I will note here, is vendor discounts. So this is a project that Skylar's getting off the ground for us. And we're thinking sort of the end of this year, early next year, that will be ready to go. So this is looking at some of those services that you might need as a nonprofit, and it might be something like translation services or access to professional employment organization or something like that. We're working with partners to try to get you discounts on those services to help you out there. So next, we have this beautiful list of our upcoming workshops. So you can see we've got a pretty full slate available for you and some really interesting topics coming up. What I like about some of the ones that we're offering, some of them are ones that we've coordinated ourselves. Others are workshops that we've leveraged our partners from around the US to provide to you. But a lot of these are, I think, really honed into kind of the challenges of this time with federal funding being in flux. And I think just nonprofits going under a lot of stress right now. A lot of these are really responsive to, what do I need to be doing? What are the conversations I need to be having right now? So Skylar pulled together this beautiful list for you to see what we've got available. As always, you can register on our website for these workshops. So I hope we'll see you at some of those. And then we have our summit coming up. And Paul, would you be willing to share a little bit about the summit? Because I know you've been so involved with that.
Absolutely, Alex. Hello, everyone. Hello. And yes, the 2025 Iowa Nonprofit Summit coming to you on Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at the FFA Enrichment Center in Ankeny, Iowa. We're making our way back there. We were there in 2023. Bethany, I think we've already announced, our two keynotes. Is that correct? Am I announcing here if I...
We have shared it selectively, so this group gets a sneak peek. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is, did you want to say, because Bethany had a huge hand in also getting these keynotes. Bethany, did you want to announce our first keynote for the summit?
Sure. Yes, we will. We haven't announced it publicly, but you guys are getting the sneak peek. One of our keynotes is going to be Diane Yentl. She's the new CEO of the National Council of Nonprofits, and we are so excited to have her. She is hot on the conference circuit, and we were able to snag her. If you're not following Diane on LinkedIn, you're not doing life right. Go follow her, and then come and meet her. And then
yes. Diane is amazing. I met with her a couple of weeks ago. She had just the previous week been in front of the subcommittee in the Congress, the DOGE subcommittee. And so the new CEO of the National Council really hitting the ground running there. And what I've heard from other leaders in other states, they're saying, if Diane's going to be your keynote, they're going to come to our conference. So, I asked with them, what's the capacity of the FFA Enrichment Center? Because we sold out the National Confab this year. And I think the same might be true as we have a second, also a major get and Dr. Akilah Watkins from Independent Sector. And so if you followed Independent Sector, their work, they're a huge advocate for the nonprofit sector. They do research, of course, in charitable and philanthropic entities. And so we will be ending the day with Dr. Akilah Watkins, and very excited to have Dr. Akilah Watkins joining us for our summit. Now, in between those two powerhouse sessions, we have 6 tracks with 4 opportunities throughout the day. So 24 sessions individually for you to be able to engage. And so those are going to include, I think, advocacy, fundraising, volunteerism, communications, I think grants and management, we're there too, a C-suite senior leaders opportunity. And so just really a lot of amazing folks have submitted. We're currently going through that now as a committee, kind of reviewing those submissions, because we want it to be an impactful day for everyone who comes to the conference, including those executive leaders. Anything that I missed? Come join us in Ankeny. There will be more communications about the day before, about opportunities, I think, the day before, for those who might be traveling and joining us a day early. And so we'll make sure to communicate that over the next several weeks.
And registration
Great.
open August 1st.
Put it on your
Excellent. Thanks,
calendars.
Paul. Thanks, Bethany. Thanks, Alex. Paul, I would say the only thing you missed would maybe be a good metaphor. So I'm going to go ahead and volunteer mine. For any of those of you who are fans of 20th century music, having the 2 keynotes that we have coming to the Iowa Nonprofit Summit this year would be like having the Beatles and the Rolling Stones all in one concert that you get to attend right in your backyard. So do not miss this year's summit. It is going to be super impactful, super informative. It's going to up your advocacy game. It's going to up your understanding of the sector and its impact across the state and across the country. And you're going to go away from that summit empowered, energized, and invigorated to continue to do the work that you do, not only with more energy, but with better strategies and tools. So if that sounds good to you, August 1st, make sure you register. Take advantage of the early bird. Get everyone you know to register. Let's rock out the FFA Enrichment Center in Ankeny this year. And then next year, we're heading into Western Iowa. And so every year we like to kind of bounce middle, Eastern, middle, Western. That's kind of the pace of our summits. So Western Iowa, we're coming for you in 2026. But we'll get through 2025 first. Okay, to end today's meeting, we've got about 12 minutes left. We're going to open it up for any Q&A that members might have, or soon to be members, or yet to be members, or allies, or board members. What do you have? Go ahead and pop your question in the chat, and we will monitor the chat. And yes, exactly. And we will watch the chat and answer your questions if we have an answer, or we will note your questions and try and come up with an answer or engage that question in our work going forward. While we're waiting for any questions you might have to populate, I do want to just take this moment to again say thank you for participating in the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance. Thank you for making your voices heard in the Alliance. Thank you for the work that you do in your local ecosystem, local community, for tirelessly advocating for those who might not have strong voices of their own, and for filling in around the government and private sectors to make our communities rich, vibrant places to live, work, play, thrive, raise families, all of that. And as we all know, there's a lot of work still to be done to realize all of those promises, but the work that we do on a daily basis hopefully helps continue to move us closer and closer to realizing those goals. Sponsorship recruitment for the summit. Thank you, Derek. Always room for improvement when it comes to sponsorships. There's never too much money to support the nonprofit sector and the engaging and vibrant work that the nonprofit sector does. We do have some really great sponsors who have signed on, who are supporting the work, supporting the sector. We have not closed the call for sponsors. And so if there are organizations or entities that you think would be a good sponsor, please feel free to direct them to Alex, and she can share information about what being a sponsor of the Nonprofit Summit looks like and what they get in terms of visibility, marketing, and engagement activities as part of that as a thank you.
Yeah. So there's another question about so in terms of sponsorships, I always say this, just like Iowa's nonprofit organizations didn't realize that they didn't have a nonprofit state association until recently, our funders are even less informed about what why a nonprofit association is important. I still get questions. I got a question last week that said, why does the INA exist? And I'm like, well, let's look at the advocacy landscape. But yeah, that's always education that we're doing. And so I think with our awesome keynotes, we're of course still working on getting sponsorship. So if you know or you want to, as a business ally or a corporation or any of the amazing community foundations want to support the summit, I put the link in the chat. Someone else asked about our breakdown of, I think, revenue. Is that right, Mason?
Yep, so we've got a question here from Mason, breakdown of grants versus donations and whether grants were private, state, or federal. That's a great question, Mason. I probably don't have the breakdown. We have not received any federal grants, correct me if I'm wrong. We also have not received any state grants. And so we are not publicly funded. We are privately funded by private entities, private foundations, individuals, who believe in the work of the nonprofit sector across the state and who want to see that work continue to grow its impact and efficacy. So thank you. And then I see another budget related question here from Paul Tompkins. Is the fiscal year 25 financial position expected to be flat like you're budgeting for 26 to be, meaning you still have 50 to 60K in net assets? So
Yeah, I can answer that.
go
we're
ahead,
sitting
Brian.
around-
Sorry.
Yeah. So on the first one, on the grants versus donations, we talked about this as we're looking at the budget. It's primarily grants from private foundations at this point. Very little in terms of individual donors or as you would expect for a membership advocacy type organization, right? We're not the service line that people are going to think about. Direct service nonprofits that people are going to think about. Hey, I want to give $10 or $100 to INA. So most of it's been in terms of private grants. Jordan, you're right. No state or federal. In terms of FY25 position, we're sitting at about a $15,000 deficit this year. So we're sitting in that $35,000 to $40,000 net assets as we stand today, heading into FY26.
And I'll just speak really briefly to that deficit. One of our major expenses in the previous fiscal year was investing in having a salary and benefit study and report produced, the first ever in the state of Iowa for the nonprofit sector. And my organization was one of the sponsors to help defray the cost of that. UNI also contributed funding to help defray the cost of that. And we had some other programmatic partnerships on that as well. But the fact of the matter was that was a pretty significant outlay to have that report produced. We anticipated making up some of that outlay on the back end in selling the report. We have sold the report and we're getting close to the break-even point on that. But we hope that we can continue to sell that report and that it continues to be a useful tool for the sector across the state, continuing into this next fiscal year. And so, like the first time you do anything, it takes a little bit for people to become aware of it, for it to resonate and for it to be useful. And we think that a salary and benefit study and report is absolutely something that needs to be happening on a consistent basis across the state to help organizations benchmark who they're paying, how they're paying them, and really as a tool to help overall improve the pay within the sector and make it more comparable to private sector, which, we have talented folks working in this sector, and we believe that they should be compensated fairly for that talent and in an effort to reduce burnout and turnover so that the sector continues to be vibrant. So we think that report is important. We're planning right now to do it every other year. We'd be looking for sponsors again next fiscal year to help us defray the cost of that report. And the more of that we can get covered through sponsorships, the more accessible it'll be to organizations once the report is actually produced. So. Yep, and Bethany put some numbers around that, $20,000 to produce that report. And just as a comparison, the Nonprofit Association of the Midlands in Nebraska, they have I believe they're a financial services partner or an insurance services partner that covers the entire cost of that report and is the title sponsor for that report. So they're able to offer their report every year, and we're not there yet, but we hope to be in the future. Yeah, Derek, so Derek asked the question, any thoughts on increasing INA's net position over the next couple of years? Maybe the current model just needs more time to scale. And would there be potential to release a cheaper basic findings and a more comprehensive full price model of the report? So let me address Derek's question first. Absolutely, Derek. We want to be in a strong financial position. I think over the next 5 years, we'd also like to grow our staffing a little bit. Other nonprofit associations, there's a lot of models out there for staffing. 2 staff members is among the smallest staffing you'll see among a state association. Other associations have a variety of positions that we don't yet have that our current staff fulfills. So things like an advocacy coordinator, things like legislative liaison, there's a wide variety, so I'm not going to go into all of them, but yeah, absolutely. We still consider ourselves a relatively new organization. We're still making our value proposition to potential members and funders and allies understood. We think we're doing some great work, but we see a lot of potential for growth in how we can help support the sector and help support our members. And hopefully that translates to continually increasing number of members. There's 23,000 nonprofit organizations in the state of Iowa registered. Not all of those are operational or even staffed. But even if just 50% of them are, 30% of them are, that's a lot of blue sky for potential members of the Iowa Nonprofit Alliance. And every member that we recruit increases the power and efficacy of this organization to advocate and to have multiple perspectives and to have diverse voices at the table. So we hope that we can continue to recruit members because we think that it'll make it a richer, not only organization for our membership, but also help us become more impactful within the state as we advocate and develop and execute and deliver programming for our members. Mason, that's a good thought. That'll be something we'll pass along to the committee. It's a potential. We can't make any guarantees at this point, obviously. We don't want to undercut the regular sales either, especially because we want to be at a point where nonprofits value the data that they can get from a full salary and benefits study, and that boards are valuing the data that they get, and that the investment that it takes to get that data is still relatively affordable and not a huge investment. And that by sharing the cost across organizations across the state, we can get a really, really high quality deep dive report at a minimal cost to each individual purchaser. Let me scroll down and see if there's any other questions. Bethany put some notes in there. Thank you, Bethany. Yeah, thank you, Jenny, for sharing information about the value that the NAM report has created for your organization in Western Iowa. Appreciate that, and we hope that it creates the same value going forward for organizations across the state of Iowa as well. Okay, we are 1 minute away, so I'm going to take the last minute just to thank everyone for participating in this year's annual meeting. If you haven't, please participate in our workshops, our professional learning circles, post your job openings to the Career Center. Definitely get your summit tickets. We look forward to a really strong and impactful year this next year, and hope to see a lot of you in person. I'm getting choked up. I'm so passionate about this work and all the work that you guys are doing out there. It's going to be the best year ever, despite the obstacles that we continue to face and will always face, changing obstacles. we continue to persevere, we continue to persist, and I applaud each and every one of you for all of the great time, energy, and effort that you put into the cause, whatever your causes may be. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.